Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Day of the Dragon by Richard A. Knack. This series will be done by the Flying Buttress, so don't be too surprised if you hear a different person's voice every week for the next coming couple of months. And now, onto the Flying Buttress with the actual video.
It pretty much felt like the world of Azeroth had never known anything but fighting and battles and stuff. You had the Troll Wars, and the Gnoll Wars, and then some more Troll Wars. Then a rip in the very fabric of the universe brought orcs to the world, fought 2 wars against them. But now, the Alliance had at last managed to push the vast bulk of the Horde back to their own world. There were still a few renegade clans at large, out in the wilderness, but the Alliance had rounded up what they could, put them in internment camps, and for the first time in many, many years, lasting peace looked like a thing that could actually happen. However, the senior council members of the Kirin Tor remained a little bit less optimistic, and the 6 of them were currently having a brain trust meeting.
Something is happening in Khazad-dûm, near or in the caverns held by the Dragonmaw clan.
Tell us something we don't know. The orcs there remain one of the few holdouts now the Doomhammer's warriors surrendered and the chieftain's gone missing.
Very well. Perhaps this will interest you more. I believe Deathwing is on the move again.
Deathwing is dead. This very council and a gathering of our strongest struck him down months ago. The unidentified heavyset wizard was not lying or mistaken. As far as he was concerned, they had killed Deathwing. After all of his eggs were destroyed, and his battle with Gruul and the Sons of Lothar on Draenor, Deathwing had cheesed it back to Azeroth, only to then be attacked by a whole bunch of Kirin Tor peeps. And at the end of that battle, he plunged into the sea and disappeared. Definitely dead, nothing to worry about.
Did you see the corpse? Deathwing was like no other dragon. Even before the goblins sealed the adamantium plates to his hide, he was a far greater threat than that of the Horde.
But what proof do you have of his continued existence?
The death of 2 red dragons, torn asunder, in a manner only one of their own kind, one of gargantuan proportions, could have managed.
There are other large dragons.
You've obviously never seen the work of Deathwing, else you'd never make that statement. It may be as you say, and if so, a matter of import. But we can hardly concern ourselves with it now. If Deathwing lives, and is striking out at as great as rival's kind, that surely benefits us. After all, Alexstrasza is still the captive of the Dragonmaw clan. It is her offspring that the orcs used to wreak havoc and bloodshed against us. Have we also soon forgotten the tragedy of the 3rd Fleet of Kul Tiras? I suspect Lord Admiral Proudmoore hasn't, after what happened to Derek.
No one argued that point, not even Antonidas.
And as I stated earlier, we can hardly concern ourselves with that situation, not with so many more immediate issues of which to deal with. You're referring to the Alterac crisis? Why should the constant sniping of Lordaeron and Stromgarde worry us more than Deathwing's possible return? Because now, Gilneas has thrown its weight into the situation.
The rest of the mages stirred at that news. Of what interest is that sorry piece of land again Greymane? Gilneas is at the tip of the southern peninsula. Alterac is not exactly nearby.
You have to ask.
The only reason Greymane ever encouraged King Terenas to action was to weaken Lordaeron's military might. The First War took a toll on Lordaeron, whilst Gilneas only ever provided token support. Now that we have peace, Terenas' hold on the Alliance leadership is tenuous at best. Thoros Trollbane believes that his kingdom deserves to claim Alterac. Terenas wants to install a new and more reasonable monarch, presumably one with a sympathetic ear to Lordaeron's causes. Greymane has taken in one of Lord Perinold's own nephews, and is supporting his claim as Alterac's successor. And if Greymane is successful, Gilneas will gain access to resources they did not previously have, and an excuse to send its mighty ships across the Great Sea, which in turn would bring Kul Tiras into the equation, as they're very protective of their naval sovereignty.
That would tear the Alliance apart. It has not come to that point yet, but it may soon. And so, we have no time to deal with dragons. If Deathwing lives and has chosen to renew his vendetta against Alexstrasza, I for one will not oppose him. The fewer dragons in this world the better. Their day is done, after all.
The 6th mage, who had been completely silent up to this point, then piped up.
I have heard that once the elves and dragons were allies, even respected friends.
Tales only, I can assure you. We would not deign to traffic among such monstrous beasts.
I appear to have heard wrong then. My mistake. You're right about the importance of calming the political situation down. I agree it must take priority. But still, we cannot afford to ignore what is happening around Khazad-dûm. Whether I'm right or wrong about Deathwing, as long as the orcs hold the Dragon Queen captive, they are a threat to the stability of the land.
We need an observer then. Someone to maintain watch over matters. Alert us if the situation there becomes critical.
But who? We've no one to spare.
Again, the very unassuming 6th mage spoke up. There is one. Rhonin. Rhonin! After his last debacle, you want to send in the Dirty Harry of Wizards? He's a maverick. Unpredictable. He's a knob. The sixth wizard waited until everyone had stopped yelling out their distaste for Rhonin before nodding. And he's the only skilled wizard we can afford to be without at the moment. This is simply a mission of observance, yes? He'll be nowhere near any potential crisis. Plus, I'm certain he's learned his lesson. Let us hope so. He may have achieved success in his last mission, but it cost most of his companions their lives. That's why, this time, we send him alone. A guide will take him to the edge of Alliance-controlled lands. A sphere of seeing will enable Rhonin to watch from a distance. It does seem simple enough, even for Rhonin. Fine. Let us agree on this and be done with the topic. Perhaps we'll get lucky. Deathwing will swallow Rhonin and choke to death. Now, can we finally focus on the political situation facing the Alliance? A short while later, Rhonin. The young red-haired human wizard opened his eyes and stood up. The voice had come from everywhere but also somehow nowhere within his chamber. What do you want? I've been waiting. The sixth wizard from the previous Brain Trust then emerged. It could not be helped. I had to wait myself until the matter was brought up by someone else. And my penance? Is my probation over? Yes. You've been granted your return to our ranks, on the provision that you complete a task. I've that much faith left in me. After the others died, you're the only one available. That sounds more realistic. Should have known. Here, take these. The shadowy wizard handed Rhonin two objects. One, a shiny sphere of emerald. The other, a ring of gold, with a simple black jewel. I recognize the sphere of seeing, but not this other thing. Feels powerful, but not, I'm guessing, in an aggressive manner. Your astuteness is why I took up your cause in the first place, Rhonin. The ring will serve as protection. You go into a realm where orc warlocks still exist. This ring will help shield you from their devices of detection. Regrettably, it will also make it difficult for us to monitor you. So I'll be on my own then. Well, less chance for me to cause any extra deaths, I suppose. You'll not be completely alone, at least as far as the journey to the port. A ranger will escort you. Rhonin nodded, but you could clearly see he didn't care much for any escort, especially a ranger. Rhonin didn't exactly get on well with elves. You've not told me my mission. They've not been easy on you, Rhonin. Some of the council even considered dismissing you entirely from the Kirin Tor. You're going to need to earn your way back. And to do that, you need to fulfill this mission to the letter. So it's not an easy task then. It involves dragons. Dragons? Balls. Make no mistake about this, Rhonin. No one else must know about this mission outside of the council and yourself. Not even the ranger who guides you, or the captain of the ship that will drop you at shore. If word got out, it could set all the plans in jeopardy. Just tell me what it is already. You are to go to Khazmodan, and once there, set in motion the steps necessary to free the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.